Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today, we'll start the Shavuot Daf Yud Tes. We are going to begin on Yud Ches Amud Beis by the two dots, the second line before the lines get wide. Rabbi Lezer Omer Hasheretz V'nel Memenu V'chu. So this takes us to the end of the Mishnah. So Rabbi Lezer says Hasheretz, when it comes to coming in contact with the sheretz, V'nela mimenu, and you forgot about it, so al helam sheretz chayiv, eno chayiv al helam mikdash. She says you're only chayiv when it comes to the forgetfulness of a sheretz, but not the mikdash. Rabbi Akiva says v'nela mimenu v'hu tameh means al helam tuma chayiv, v'eno chayiv al helam mikdash. Now, both of them say seemingly the same thing, that you're not chayiv on helam mikdash. And however, on a sheretz, Rashi says a sheretz v'nelam, and Pasuk says v'nevel sheretz tameh v'nelam imenu. Rabbi Shmuel Eimer v'nelam shnei pamim, it says it twice. L'chayev al helam tuma ne'el helam mikdash. So Rabbi Shmuel disagrees, but apparently Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Lezer both say that you're not chayev al helam mikdash. Okay, so let's see. Rabbi Lezer Eimer hashes v'nelam imenu v'chu. So my binayu. So what is the difference between these two opinions if they both hold that you're not chayev al helam mikdash? So on this, Omer Chizkiya sheretz v'nevela ikmenayu. So what is that referring to? So when it comes to a sheretz and a nevela, that is the nafkim. This is Rashi. Tami sheretz v'tami nevela biadia, when you knew shebetchila yada shenag b'sheretz u'b'nevela. You originally knew that you touched nevela, or you originally touched the sheretz. Avlo yada be'ez mehen shagag. We don't know which one. He doesn't know the source of Tuma. It was one or the other. So this is going to be the nafkamin according to Chizkiah. The Oisa Tuma nisalma kishachal kaidish. So he didn't know what Tuma it was when he ate the kaidish. Rabbi Lezer savar binan adiyada ibesheretz itmei ibnevel itmei. You have to know which one it was. Rabbi Akiva said a little bit inan adiyada. You don't need to know which one it was, because after all, kivan diyada the itma b'oila motzarich ibesheretz itmi ibnevel itmi. It shouldn't make any difference, because b'manavshach you're tameh because you touched one of the two. So therefore, that would also constitute as knowing. V'chein oimer ula sheretz v'nel b'nayu. He says the same thing. The Ula Rami, the Rabbi Lezer, he has a stira. When Mishani, he answers the question. Miyam Rabbi Lezer be'inan adiyada. Does Rabbi Lezer hold that it's until you know, even sheretz itmi, even avail itmi, that you have to be precise, knowing was it a sheretz and avela? Remini, Rabbi Lezer manavshach. He says, manavshach, which is this Mishnah in Masechtas Krisos, and Rashi says that if you have chaylev v'neiser lefanav, so you have chaylev, and you also have something which is nicer, which is aser. You ate one of them. You don't know which one it was. Or b'shabbos v'yom kippurim you either did malacha on Shabbos or you did malacha on Yom Kippur. You have your wife who is a nida and your sister and her sister. Rabbi Lezer holds your chayiv chatos, because he doesn't hold apparently that you need to know what it was, because of manavshach you did an iser. Rabbi Shua Paiter, Rabbi Lezer manavshach. Okay, so manavshach chaylev achol chaylev chayiv, noiser achol chayiv, Shabbos chaylev chayiv, Yom Kippurim chaylev chayiv, ishto nida boyel chayiv, achayis boyel chayiv. So therefore, it doesn't make any difference. So we see actually a stira. In this case, clearly he doesn't make a distinction. But yeah, we're saying the Rabbi Lezer holds that that you do need to know if it's a sheretz or nevela. So Amar Rabbi Yeshua Har Yomi, the pasuk says, "Oy hoida alav chatasai asher chata ba," that you knew about the sin in which you did in it. Ad sheyoidolcha b'ma chata, that you have to mamish know the sin. So Mishani Hasam over there it says Asher Chata. Vehevi Rachmana Chet Kol Shehu Hacha. So over there it says you did a sin, which is mashma any chet. Says Rashi, Oy Hoido Lav Chatasa Shechataba. The Hevi, you bring it. Bahai Ba to Gedarsh Rabbi Yeshua Mapik Rabbi Lezer Kaman Mishmaisel Dirash Achrina. And he's basically saying that the pasuk is telling you that whatever the chet is, you bring. However, Hacha Michti Ksiv B'chol Davar Tameh. It says anything that is Tameh. Omenavel Sheretz Tameh Lamuli. So why does it mention that? Shema Mino B'Inan Adiyada. Even Sheretz Itmi, even Avail Itmi. So when it comes to this dafka, we require that you need to know between a sheretz and a vela. However, when it comes to other things, it's oy haydol of chatasa asher chataba. So that's it. So when it says asher chata v'hevi, so it's just telling you that whatever the chet is, even if you don't know the chet. Okay, Rabbi Kiva will say, "These we continue to test someone else. The boil michtav behema v'chaya." Since he holds that you do need to mention Behem and Chaya, as Rashi says over here in the first parak, Ekroni Chaya Behema Lamuli Lamanemra. We already learned regarding my Tumas Kaidish regarding this. Look at Rabbi Ksiv Nami Sheretz. So it says Sheretz. Kedatana de Rabbi Shmuel. Kol Parsha Shnem Rabbi Nishnis. Anytime you have a parsha that's repeated, it's coming to teach us something new. Rabbi Lezer, hi ba mayavadle. According to Rabbi Lezer, what does he do with the word ba, which is mashma until you mamish know the chet, which one it is. So prat l'sasek, someone who's misasek, says Rashi, you're involved with var heter. Volia the Isser, you didn't have the kavana, you were doing something mutter, and an Isser came about. V'nischavin l'gufa shel zu, you didn't have the intention. Kagoyin nischavin lachtech as a tolish. Let's say on Shabbos you wanted to remove or lift up something detached from the ground, which is a davar mutter, davar heter. The chatach as a mechuber, and you ended up ripping out something which is mechuber. Nischavin lachaiso, your intention was to be with your wife. And the sisters with it on the bed. Vinishmita ishto uvachaiso tachteha. You had tashmish with the sister. Ve'ezehu chaim nischavin lachtoich ksaver tolish v'nimsu mechuber. O ksaver hayoim choyel o ksaver malacha zumuteres mikomakom wazu nischavin. There you did have intention. V'chein ba'al chaisim nischavin l'guf zeh. Because he ishto. You thought it was your wife, wasn't. So in that case, that's not the same thing. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan Aymar Mashmois Darshanik Benayu. We don't actually say there's any practical nafkamina, like when it comes to sheretz and the velo, that you have to know if it was the sheretz and the velo became tummy with. No, it's just through the interpretation of the various psukim. The Chenim Rav Sheshis Mashmois Darshan Igbenayu. Rav Sheshis Machlet Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Eliezer. So he flipped them around. So, in fact, obviously, if you can flip them around, there's no halachic difference. Bomini Rabim Rav Nachman. Helm zev zeh biyadai mahu. Let's say a person has, says Rashi, Helm Tuma Mikdash. You forgot both. You forgot that you're a Tameh, and you forgot that you're in the Mikdash. According to Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Kiva, who you're pater al Helm Mikdash. What do they hold regarding this? You had Helm Tuma, and therefore you're chayiv. Ta'adrabba, Hari Helm Mikdash biyadu pater. You have Helm Mikdash, according to them, you're pater for that. So Amar Ravashi Chazina depends. Let's look. Ima Tuma ka pirish. If you separate yourself from Tuma, Hari Helm Tuma biyadu, you're chayiv. Ima Mikdash ka pirish, you're separate from the Mikdash, Hari Helm Mikdash biyadu pater. Similar Ravina Ravashi, Kum parish from a Mikdash. El Mishum Toma. The reason why you're leaving is because of Toma. Kum Parish Matoma El Mishum Mikdash. El Olushna doesn't make any difference. Okay. Alright. Question 1. Waman de Potter Behelam Mikdash. One who potters from Helam Mikdash Mekarbon Olav Yarid. Ma Dino Behelam Mikdash Vatoma Biyadai. If you're a Helam by both. So he says, in that case, you're also Potter. Okay, lo shna, which means you're potter. Okay. Tarawan. Shnei Shavilin. You have these two pathways. Echad Tami v'echad Tar. And if you go through one pathway, you're going to become Tami. You go through another pathway, you're going to be Tar. The Holach Barisha and V'lenichnas. You went through one way, V'lenichnas, and you did not enter. Says Rashi, V'en Yodea imatami imatahar V'lenichnas l'mikdash. You never entered into the mikdash. The sheni, then you passed the second one. You went through the second one, the nichnas, and then you entered chayiv. So in that situation, you're chayiv karm noyev yared, because this is considered to be yediyah, but chila, fine. Halach barisha and v'nichnas. However, let's say you went through one path and you entered the mikdash. So hazeh v'nichnas, hazeh v'shan v'tavol. So he's a v'shan v'tavol. Let's say a person purified themselves. Shimon Poiter, Rabbi Shimon Yehuda Poiter, Bekulin Mishum Rabbi Shimon. Okay, so why are you chayiv? Says Rashi, Omach must be Rishonim for the first time. Omach must be a shnia. Second path, the Manushach, O be Rishon, O be a shnia. But Tomahaisa, you're telling me one way or the other. Rabbi Shimon Poiter, the Inkan Ba'achas Bekulin Yediyah Vadoyis Betchila. There's no Yediyah Vadoyis, because you don't know the first path that you went through, you were Tameh. Shav Yedid Chila Shel Shvil Sheni Svekehi. It's a whole doubt. Okay. Pater Bekulon, Rashi says Afberi Shaina. Okay. So Bekulon, as we continue Your Testament Bays, Fiafil B'Kamaisa, even the first one, Bitmia says Rashi Mamanav Shach. Tamehu Kaidim Shenichnas Hoya Tameh. Vadai V'Yedias Vadai Havilei B'Tchila. So Mamanav Shach Tamehu. How could anyone say this person is not Tameh and he's part of a carbon? So he went through one path, but when he went through the second path, he forgot that he went through the first path at all. And therefore he only had partial yediyah. And Shimon Savar lo amrin mixas yediyah kechol yediyah. There's partial yediyah like full yediyah. Halach bar Yishayin v'nechnas hazeh v'shan v'tavo v'chazar. The halach b'shin v'nechnas chayv. Rabbi Shimon point there. So he said that let's say he goes through one path, and then he enters the mikdash and he purifies himself. He goes to the second path. He's chayv. Shimon's point there. So my chayv savik yediyahu. So Rabbi Yochanan kan also savik yediyah ki yediyah. He holds that savik yediyah is like yediyah. Reishal kashamer. Okay. Stop there for a second. Let's look at question 2. Mahu atzir. What exactly is this case in the Gemara? The Pater Rav Shimon Mekarbon Yard Mishum Dahavi Mixas Yediyah. How do we find Mixas Yediyah by these two paths? So if you have two paths, one's Tami, one's Tar, he went through the first one. However, when he went through the second one, he didn't remember that he went through the first one. So in that situation, that's considered to be mixas yediyah. Ma'otzir b'gemara the Pater bar Rav Shimon mishum dehu safek yediyah. So not mixas yediyah, but safek yediyah. You have two paths. He went through the first one. He entered the mikdash, and then he purified himself, etc. And he went onto the second path. So that's called safek yediyah. That is the difference between them. Okay. Fine. So, the Gemara asks a question. Rami to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan, Rami to Reish Lakish, Reish Lakish. This whole notion of mixas yediyah, is it kachol yediyah? Actually, we have a steer in Rabbi Yochanan, Reish Lakish, Sanya. Achol savik chelev. Let's say a person ate possibly chelev. Says Rashi, chaticha safik chel safik shuman. We don't know if it was chel or shuman, so it could have been kosher fat, could have been non-kosher fat. But noida, says Rashi, ol achers man shehu safik chel. Turns out that it was a safik chel. Barihu basham tali. So he has to bring an asham tali. B'chazer v'achol safik chel, v'noida she safik chel achol. The second time he knew there was safik chel. So what happened? So achol savik chelav and naida, Rabbi Yerma Kashem she maybe chatas al kol echad ve'achad. Just like you bring a chatos on every single one, kan maybe asham tali al kolach ve'achad. So to the asham tali. Shimon ben Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon, enu maybe el asham tali echad. You only bring one. Shnemer al shkagas asher shagaga. Tarabiv says shkagas harbe ve'asham tali echad. You only have to bring one asham tali. Yomer shlokish kan shana Rebbe yadias fekus mischalkos l'chatos. This whole question is that do we say that mixas yediyah will divide us regarding having to bring a carbon chatos? Rav Yochanan and Kashem shediyas is vaday ba'alma mischalkos l'chatos kach yediyas samig mischalkos l'shamois. So bishlam Rav Yochanan l'kasha kan osu. It's only here by tuma. V'lo b'chol tarakua osu. Hachahu d'lo ksiv yediyah behedya. Elam hu de kaasi. It's only from Venelam he didn't know at all. Lo b'chol tarakul asu. D'chsev o haida olav yediyam al yas be'inan. That says by the chatas that you need to know that thing. Ela Rabbi Shakish adamoikamak Rabbi Shmuel nukmak Rabbi. Hakamash Shmuel the Rabbi Shmuel lo boy yediyah b'tchilo. So pshita do boy. Medolom mi'ater leikra. V'nelam nemachayev al hel mikdash. Samada tema kiles le mikroi of a migmar yisle kamashmuan. That you would need yediyah b'tchila kamashmuan. Not hadnoch yediyah satuma. Hadnoch yediyah satuma. Hadnoch yediyah satuma. Let's see if we have a question here. TA 13. Ha'im yediyah safek mischalkos la'shamos l'chatos. So, well, Asham Toloi, it's a machlokas, right? That's what we see over here. But Asham Toloi, it's a machlokas. And Lechatas Plukta B'Gemara Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish. Let me read it again. Well, Asham Toloi, Mechalkas, right? Latumas put v'gemara. Fine. TB 14. Shnei shvilim echatam echatar v'hoch barishon lo nechna b'sheni v'nechna schayim v'shimon mihuda mishimon shimon poit v'eza oifen ayri uv'mai kemifagi. So this is again Shnei Shvilim Echatam Ve'Echatar V'Hoch Barishon Lo Nichnas B'Sheni. Right. So what happened? Ha Barishon. Potter Be'eza Oifen Ma'Kimifgi. So the machlokus basically is: do we say mixas yediyah k'chol yediyah? That's basically the answer. TB 14. Right, so by mixas yediyah is it considered to be full yediyah? Adkan.